Hello, everybody, and welcome to Church at Home with Rachel for Thursday, the 7th of August. We are out on the deck. It is a Sunday afternoon. I think it's the 3rd of August because I'm recording this before I go to Sacred Circle. This is Skunk. This is this is Dude point 2.0. Not really. Never could replace Dude. Skunk is our amazing little puppy who is looks like a skunk, and she's very bitey, and she's got very baby shark teeth. Okay, you want to get down? She's Oops. She's also a little goat. She's very active, and she is an amazing little part of our lives. But that's what I want to talk to you about today. Is about what happens when we do move on. What happens when we have lost someone we loved, or we lose our pet. And for many people, some people might think I'm nuts, but for many people who will understand that losing a pet can be like losing a member of the family. It's an incredibly difficult thing, and we lost Dude 2 years ago, and just over 2 years ago. And although I always knew I wanted to have another dog, I wasn't entirely sure when that would happen. And then after our car accident at the end of June, it became really clear. We've been talking about it for a while, and it's like, we're never going to be ready. We're never going to be in that moment where we always have somebody home to watch the dog, where we can handle. We didn't with Dude either, so we just bit the bullet. We prayed and said, "Okay, God, you lead us," and God led us to Skunk. And it's amazing how healing that really is. But at the same time, it's bittersweet because we have to do that balance of feeling guilty about, are we moving on from the one that we loved by loving another, or do we truly have hearts that open up and have more love to give? And I think it's a bit of both. There's parts of me that feel like I feel guilty because I feel like I'm moving on from Dude, although this little monkey gets called Dude a lot. 1 second. Okay, I see her tail. She called Dude a lot because for 9 years, Dude this, do that, and so when you're frustrated or you're excited or something, and you go through the name of every one of your sisters and brothers or aunts and uncles before you actually land on the name you're trying to find. Same thing with Skunk. She gets called Dude quite often. I think she's probably used to it by now, but she's teaching us that we can love. And the beauty is that she's not just like Dude. She's completely different than Dude, which is also teaching us that we don't have to simply feel like we're replacing one being that we have loved with another, because you can't do that. You really can't. We are remembering we can't ever have Dude back. But what we can do is acknowledge that Dude taught us how to love in a way that we never could have before. And then that means that we now have that kind of love we can give to another. It was very important to me that we get a rescue dog. Dude was a breeder's dog that we knew about before he was even conceived. It was an arrangement Rob had made with a coworker of his who was a breeder, and they were sailing together. And so we knew that Dude would be long before Dude was. We didn't know Skunk was. Skunk's mom was apparently left with her litter. She had a litter of several little puppies. They were the critter litter, so there was skunk and shrew and muskrat and gopher, and there may have been some others, but um, they were left, and she was a mixed collie breed. No idea who dudes, or oh, sorry, there I just did it. Who Skunk's papa is, but she's into everything. Right now, she's chewing on rocks that I should probably stop her from doing, but it's not going to happen. She's just going to keep going. She's a dog. She can eat like a goat. The thing is, though, that the grief that we share, that we hold, when a loved being, loved one, loved pet, loved whatever it might be, is gone, there is no moving beyond that. There's no sort of, okay, here you go, the Kubler Ross parts of grief, the Kubler Ross stages of grief, as she said herself said, they're not linear. They're cyclical. If they come back on each other and they come out of joint, and they don't all happen in the same order for everyone. And sometimes they come back at the most unreasonable moments and unexpected times. Well, the same thing can be said for the way that we grieve someone like with Dude, for instance. I will always miss him. He was my first dog, and he was the first dog I had with Rob. He moved us through several different, we could live with us in four, Halifax, Round Lake, Wainwright first house, Wainwright second house. So four different houses. He lived in three different provinces. He traveled most of the country with us, and he bounced back. He handled hotel rooms. He handled total strangers. He planted Jesus rocks everywhere he went. It was incredible. Those are all experiences that were real and honest, and they happened, and we can't just dismiss them as if they hadn't. There's It's not healthy to do that in our grief, to say, I just want to forget about these things. Those things are part of who we are. They become part of our DNA, really. And that allows us the ability to have those memories, to process them, to think about what we learned from them. But then we continue our life. When someone dies in our lives, we don't die. We continue. We move on. And as painful and as guilty as we might feel, it's part of life. It's natural. And we need to discover the new things. What has that being, in my case, Dude? For you, it might be a family member, a friend, a loved one who has died. What are those things that they taught you, those life lessons that you are now including in your life now? What are those things that you think to yourself, oh, yeah, yeah, because of dad, because of mom, because of grandma, my cousin, my best friend, that I know this, or that I can deal with this, or that I have this information, this wisdom. We need to allow the grief and the learning and the experience of having loved to continue to grow with us into the next parts of our lives so that we can then love the next one. Skunk, in no way, shape, or form, is Dude. She's clever, but Dude was smart. Maybe she might grow into that. But she she's lovable in her own way. She is teaching Rob and I new things about ourselves, about her, about the way we face life, about how we problem solve in ways that Dude never did. He didn't need to. But at this stage in life, this is a new being that God has put into our lives. And we need to take what we have learned and allow it to invest and feed into the new part of life, the future. She's doing something to the barbecue behind me. I don't know what, but it's not on, so we're safe. We need to be able to recognize that grief, well lived grief, will never completely go away. It will always have that part in us that brings us back and brings a tear to our eye or a smile to our lips. But it shouldn't be jumped over. We shouldn't just try to wrap it up with a bow, stick it in a box, and save it for a rainy day or never again. It needs to be a part of who we are, a part of the processing and becoming of who we become, so that we can then embrace the new things in our lives that will give us the joy and the peace and the hope that whatever that grief was from also gave us before. Because one day, of course, we will grieve. Skunk's just a dog. She will not last as long as I am. And there will be another time when I will have to grieve. But in the meantime, I will celebrate her. And I'll celebrate life wherever the heck she went. And we will learn from her, and we will give her a good home, and she will give us a good sense of who we are called to be. Just as Dude did. Just as the people that we have loved before and see no more did. Just as we will then share the gifts and the wisdom that they shared with us with the people that we will meet. Okay, she walked behind all of the things on the deck to emerge on the other side of the barbecue. The things that have brought us to this point are important, even the grief, and they will inform how we move into the rest of our lives. So it's important not to get hung up on the way it has been or to beat ourselves up for wanting to move on. If indeed we are, I don't think moving on as in giving up what was, but moving on as in bringing all of what was with us to the next part of our journey. That's what Skunk is for me. Right, puppy? Come here. Make another cameo here before we say goodbye. Skunk is what is helping me and Rob to become the people we are called to become, right? And she's a great little gift. And hopefully, we will be good puppy parents to her, just as we were good puppy parents to Dude. She will benefit from what Dude taught us, and we will benefit from what she teaches us too. Have a great day, everybody. God bless, and I'll see you again tomorrow for Church at Home with Rachel. If I can turn my computer off.